My name is Jessica Lucke, and I am the Director of Client Success here at Altos Research. This is an informal type of webinar I'm really excited about, more of an educational series. So if this is your first one, welcome, welcome. If this is your second and you've attended the last one, I hope you found it valuable and you're here to return to learn some more. So the structure of our webinar series is, like I mentioned, more educational. 30 minutes is not a lot of time. And if any of you know me, I can be quite the chatty Cathy. So I want to be able to help answer questions that you might have. So you may have noticed when you registered, you had the opportunity to ask questions. I'm going to share with you some common questions that I get. But so you know that this particular session is mostly about the platform. How do you get started? How do we get through determining your locations and all of those types of things, right? And we're going to talk about our quick actions here and how you might be able to incorporate it into your business. Our next session will focus on the market report and a way to incorporate the market report into your business. Okay, so please feel free to sign up for as many as you can. Worst case scenario, you can't make it, you get the recording and good to go. All right. All right. So again, for those who are joining us, we've got quite a few folks there, which is great. Again, my name is Jessica Lucke, and I'm the Director of Client Success. I welcome to our educational Altos webinar. And today we're going to be focusing on our platform. Now, whether you are a light user, a pro user, or an advanced user, I'm hoping that by the end of this session, you'll be inspired to dive in and get started if you haven't, or maybe apply some new things. So what you're seeing again is our platform. You've got your quick actions on the left, and you can see that I have some locations. You see here that you have the ability to sort what you're seeing. So if you are brand new to Altos and you're like, hey, how do I even go and get started? How do I add my locations? All you need to do is go click on Add Report. Okay. So if you're in a light version, then you've got your handful that you can add to your account. So you'll just type city or zip. If you have an advanced account, you would be able to add your state. And you'll be able to do that by clicking on Add Report. So again, we back up the bus a little bit. Altos, who is Altos and what do we do? Then remember that the goal is to answer the question, how's the market today, right? We want to be able to answer the question, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market, and how much so? How are we different than any other market report out there? Well, we focus on the 100% active market. We update our reports weekly so that you have fresh content week after week to gauge how the market is behaving week after week. We provide leading indicators so that you can be on board with, hey, what is going to shift if it's going to shift, right? So we provide those leading indicators. Things do change weekly, and you want to be able to be responsive based on that change when it's happening, not be reactive when it's already passed. And that's what makes us shine. But my most favorite is being able to take the complex data and put it into an easy to understand format. We all know that we have tons of personalities out there, and everybody absorbs this information differently. If I go out and say, hey, do you want to look at some market statistics? Not everybody's going to go, woohoo, let's go do that, right? But we do want to be engaged with what's happening in the market so that we can make the best decision possible when it comes to real estate. And that's what our goal is to help you be the expert, to help you shine so that your clients can shine and feel confident in the decisions that they're making. So we have reports. Great. Well, we have them countywide, we have them citywide, we have them zip code specific. And the thing we want to focus on is that we focus on the 100% active market. Now, when questions were sent out or people were asking questions, one of the most common questions is, hey, maybe it doesn't really match my MLS. What makes ours different than the MLS? A lot, right? And so one of the things that you really want to take into consideration is the frequency that we update the reports. Your MLS is going to provide a ton of different types of information. What we do is create consistency. We update the reports every weekend after we work really hard capturing the data. We have a data team that has access to hundreds of sources. They do the capture throughout the week. They stop capture on Friday. They process the data over the weekend and publish on Sunday afternoon. so that every week you have a consistent report that doesn't just say, hey, here's how the market's behaving, but here is a means to see the trend that's happening by measuring the exact same thing week after week. And that's a really important thing because I've worked with plenty of clients who created their own market reports when they should be out and about talking to their clients, right? And so that's what makes our report shine. So they're not going to match your MLS, right? We focus on the 100% active market. We exclude pending and contingent. We also segregate our inventory into single family homes and condo townhouses. It is a singular report, right? So it's a single report link. So when you click on it, you have segments, right? So you have single family homes and you click on condos and everything updates, right? So we do segregate it, but it is one singular link, which makes it great because you have one link that represents all, but we know that the nature of the market differs between those different property types, okay? And so that is a big component as well. Now, when you have your platform, there is rhyme and reason to the way it's laid out. What you're seeing here is list view, right? So list view is great, but you might think, hey, well, this isn't the view that I have. Well, that's okay because we have two different views. If you take your cursor over here to the upper right-hand corner, right below the ad report, you click on that, you can change it to market view. Market view allows you as the account owner to see a snapshot of the nature of the market so that you don't have to click on every single link, right? You don't want to necessarily have to click on every link to get the answer. So this way you can see at a glance the nature of the market. Now, another question that I continually get is, well, great. As you can see, I have both California and Colorado. So my account is huge. I have so many reports that I want them, but there is a subset of reports that I want to be able to see easily without having to go searching for it. So just so you're aware, you can select the ones that are most important to you and make them favorites, okay? So this is my location. I live in 95032. It's a strong seller's market. Great, fine. These are my neighboring cities. Great, right? I still want all of the others, but this is something that I can come in and take a glance and see, okay, I have a little tiny snapshot of the nature of the market, right? So how do you go about marking up your favorites? Well, all reports will give you that, right? So you see here, I've got a ton. Now, what if I wanted to add, let's see, Milpitas. So those of you questioning, how do I pull up the report that's most important to me in this moment? Use the search function to access any report within your account. And so what if Milpitas was something I needed as my favorite? I would select the box, go up to options, mark selected as favorite. There's my little heart. Worst case scenario, I don't want Milpitas again. Select that heart and you can break it. Okay? So you can see how you can add or subtract from your favorites list. This will be your favorite. And you can also, again, have that list view. Now, these reports are all good and fine, but how can you add value to these reports? This, adding your branding is going to be one of the more important things that you do. And again, you can add branding to light version. You can add branding to professional and advanced. If you're in a freemium account and you'd like to have your branding, I would encourage you to give light a try, give professional a try, right? Because this is going to be important. And I'm going to share with you why it's so important. We all know branding is important, but there are other tools within your Altos account that you can utilize and incorporate your branding that really convert a to a wow. And that's what you want to be able to do. So how the heck do you do that? Because what if you signed up for an account and you skipped that step? Where do you go to update your branding? Well, you're going to go up to your name here in the upper right-hand corner, select it, and choose My Profile. Easy peasy. This is it. And you can have the WYSIWYG, and I have mine blown up so that y'all can see it a little bit clearer. So understand that that's not necessarily, you can see what it looks like here, right? But you have things like, okay, what is this? You don't want to just put your name there. What is it that you're sharing? That's going to be huge. A lot of people just put their name. Now, great. But what is it you're sharing? It's a localized market report. a market report, a weekly market report, whatever you want goes here. Then you put in the subheader text who you are and what your contact information is. If you participated last time, you knew that this is super important because it works as a business card once you print the PDF version of the report. Pretty awesome, okay? You can put footer text if you want your website there, right? You can choose whatever color of the rainbow, and good luck with that because that's where I get tied up a little bit. And then you have here your image. You can have a company logo. You can have a headshot. You can have it in a circle. You can have it in a square. It's up to you what you want to do, but this is where you define your branding. Once you do that, you're going to want to hit save. Okay, so that's an important component. Of course, hit save. But it makes just a simple report that much better. It's got your branding. And by adding your contact information here, it makes this gold because it out and about can act as a business card, but it also is a direct, hey, let me send them an email real quick. Okay. So definitely set your branding. So if you haven't done anything yet, if you have one goal, do your branding. And it's going to be important because this quick actions incorporates your branding, which is going to be a very important part. Okay. So we're going to go back to reports. We have talked about your favorites and how that can work, right? Your quick actions. Your quick actions are additional assets. So if we quickly look at a report here, this report, again, answers the question, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market and how much so? It answers the question, how's the market today compared to this time last month? In fact, how's the market today compared to 3 months ago? How's the market now compared to 5 years ago, right? But as you can see, that's a lot of information. What if you just wanted the market action index? What if you just wanted a quick snapshot of the most important statistics? What if you wanted a chart? Whether it be for social media, a quick email send, you can do that using the quick actions. So over on the left-hand side, we can go click on Market Snapshot. Market Snapshot, you have your search function. It automatically brings up this location, but if I wanted something different, you just go ahead and 95032. If there's anybody from Los Gatos out there? Hello, hello. Right? So great. Here is my snapshot. But here's where the gold is. So I can go ahead and say, okay, add my branding. Cool, right? I've got my contact information on there. I've got my latest numbers. I've got my visual cue because you know I'm visual. And then you know what? I just want to read a bit about what's happening in the market. Here's my narrative. So this piece of information all by itself is amazing. Because what is it doing here? This is saying, hey, here's a snapshot of what's happening right now. And then these numbers represent the change that's happened since last week. So here's a use case. One of the things you can do on social media is create some consistency for yourself, a continual post. What if you did a market minute, right? Those of you who've been around for some time, maybe you've taken a class where we've talked about that market minute. We just stepped up our game by creating basically a script for you. Because if those of you who participated, doing a minute talk on an entire report is a little bit crazy, okay? But doing a talk in a minute using this is amazing. Not only do I have the numbers and the change that's happened since the previous week, but I have the narrative that I can read off as well, okay? So you could use this in an Instagram reel, right? This answers the question, hey, what's the latest update to the market and how does it compare to last week? If you don't want it, you can turn it off, right? If you don't want the market narrative, cool. You don't have to have these things, but now you have a lot of control over what it is that you present. Well, then what do you do once you create this? Well, you can come up to download and download an image file, right? Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. This really works well for Instagram because Instagram doesn't like links, right? But you can share an image easy and then create a link inside of your profile on Instagram where they can go ahead and sign up for reports or they can click a link to access the full report. And that works really well. Okay. So again, you've got this. But what if you just wanted to send a client a quick snapshot? go here, click on share, pull up a contact, right? And now we can preview what this is going to look like. What I love about this is that it's embedding the image inside the email. And I can choose to include a link to the full report. So this is a great introduction to the Altos report when you have a new lead or a new client that you're like, hey, here's some information about the market. I also have the full report. I can subscribe you to receive this week after week, right? Because you can take advantage of having them added as a contact as well as sending them a report on a weekly basis, right? So if you come back here, what if they don't exist in your contact database? I always recommend, if you haven't done this yet, add yourself as a contact, okay? So again, you saw me in there, but if I say, okay, Joe Smith at mail.com, okay, great. Well, they don't exist. So then I'm going to go ahead and create it, Joe Smith, okay? And I'm going to have it added to the new contact to my database and subscribe them to a campaign, save an ad. Easy, okay? And then I can go ahead and hit send now. And it's done. So this is definitely an exercise that you should use. So whether it be the market snapshot or any of the other tools, you've branded your reports, first step. Second, add yourself as a contact and send yourself an email with a snapshot or market action index, which is one of my favorites, right? Because you're going to have folks who are going to look at the data and be like, oh, this freaks me out. But this, hey, it's highlighting it's a seller's market. It's yelling at me that it's a seller's market. And by the way, I can read about it if I want. This is a great one too. So whether you do the market snapshot, the market action, and even the chart creator, you'll see some consistencies of what you can do. Again, branding, market narrative, right? Download the image file. So the image file, be aware. So the image file, remember, it's a snapshot. It's an image. It can't update each week. But the report link is something that you can. So one of the questions that we received was, hey, if I send somebody a link like this, I mean, literally copy the link and send it off, right? Will it update on its own or is it static? It'll update. We don't house old reports, right? So those links are continually updating week after week. Super important to understand, right? So that's going to be a huge thing. So one of the ways you want to share it is via just copy paste of a link, perfectly fine. If you want to put reports on your website, one of the easiest things you can do is create hyperlinks on your homepage of the locations. On click loads the latest version of that report, right? And anytime they click on that link, they'll get the latest version of that report. If they want to get it frequently in their inbox, they can click subscribe. Easy peasy, right? So understand the difference between downloading an image file and using a link, right? You can share via email. Now, what if you wanted this content on your website? Now, on your website, you probably don't need your branding because your website has the brand. So you can take that off. I'm a big fan of the narrative because it hits the need of those who are intimidated by market data and gives them some insight. Great. So you go here, go to share, click embed market action, and you have the embed code. Now, you don't want to willy-nilly go at it on your own unless you know how to do this. But if you have a web developer, great. Just provide them the content and they can help you integrate data into your website. Okay? And we can always talk more about that if you want to set up a one-on-one or something of that sort. But these quick actions are really, really helpful. But notice how much more helpful they are when you've incorporated your branding. When you go to your reports page, again, here are your reports and you have your different visibilities. So don't forget that if you are using Market View, you can configure what you see here. You would select the settings tool and you would choose select Market View stats. So both for the report view, which is what you see here on your platform, and the market snapshot, you can have up to 9 with the snapshot, you can have 3. So if you want to do away with one of these, you can, turn it off, and then turn on price decrease if you'd like to monitor that. And then just click save and everything changes. Okay? All right. So again, quick actions, market snapshot, market action, chart creator, reports. Same thing. So this one you get to see embedded. Instead of going to a link, you are seeing it embedded. And then if you want to look at the full report, which we will discuss next session, where, hey, how are you going to incorporate this into listing presentation, right? But you can obtain the single page PDF, the full report PDF, by going to download. In addition, there is a QR code. So if you're out and about, someone can scan the QR code to load the latest version of the report. So that is another capability that's amazing. If you want to copy that link, just like I said, remember the link will, anytime you click on it, load the latest version. So we've talked about branding. We've talked about adding additional locations, right? So you come here and I can go, I already have all of California. Maybe I need something in Colorado, but Denver, right? Hit search. I can't add it. If you can't add it, your subscription doesn't support it. But if you add a state, you can define your state and then go to counties and go ahead and search a county that you subscribe, so whatever state, and then you're going to select this to make sure you get the report for every city and zip code within that county and really build out your subscription. Okay? Now, with the quick snaps or with the quick actions, one of the things I wanted to focus on was a use case. The use case here I wanted to talk about was postcards. So if you have participated in a previous session, I flashed that postcard real quick, right? But one of the things I wanted you to kind of think about is, okay, we talked about sending the market action index, right? You can send it via email, you can share it on social media, but what about print, right? You can use any of these components or a combination thereof to create a really great postcard. Whether you're using AI, you are using another tool, you can take components and create something really great. And just for an example, I pulled up one, right? This is an example that I created. And in addition to this, I have a product guide that I can share and I will send out with the recording of today's session. The product guide will walk you through how to generate a compelling postcard, okay? What are we seeing here? We are seeing the branding that I utilized, right? We're looking at the market action index as an image, and we're looking at a QR code. All of these components from your platform. The goal is to create a call to action, like never miss a market update, subscribe. You want to have a call to action. So think about what you get in the mail when it comes to real estate. You get these market reports, which is great, but how do you get leads? How do you go about getting the leads to convert? You're going to get a list, you're going to send it out to a neighborhood that you want to farm, right? Well, this one works really well because you're giving a call to action. You're saying, hey, it's a strong seller's market. And then they can scan this to view the full report. And then they are being told to subscribe. Remember, they can click subscribe and they can receive it week after week. So this is a great example of a use case for using those quick actions. So just remember that you have access to all of these things. And so if you go back here and you go to market action, you can have the narrative in that postcard. You can have your branding if you want to keep it just like this. Download the image and create a Canva, right? And then have it printed. But you can change the layout. You can choose whether or not you have the branding, right? And so create an image you like to incorporate. Then once you have the location of interest, you're going to go find the same QR code. In this case, it's 95124. So we go to market reports. It's 95124. We just go here and we download the QR code. Easy. And so I drag it over. here's our QR code. See the same thing. So you can incorporate that QR code. It's a great way to go about getting leads. Hey, get your free market report. Scan this, click to subscribe. Okay. So we have a product guide here that I've created that gives you the step-by-step. And I'm hoping that this is a great educational piece for you in case that's something that you're interested in doing. Because last time we talked about creating a flyer for open houses. It's a similar thing, but now think about postcards that you can create. You can also create a postcard and share that on social media as well. Mm-hmm. All right. So again, here's your reports page. You've got your quick actions. We know how to add locations. We know how to brand our reports. Once you have them branded and you've got your areas set up, remember that you've got contacts and campaigns. You can add contacts to receive locations of interest, and you will assign them a campaign, which is just an email communication based on the frequency that you decide. You add the contact, and when you do so, you add a location. Don't forget to add the location here. So 95032, to pull up the report, select it, make sure that they have an email campaign, and then you can hit save. The great thing about the campaigns is that they're automatic. So you can decide on the frequency, the day of the week. Okay. And so in future sessions, we'll specify, well, it'll go just over the contacts and the campaigns, but hopefully this is helpful. Now, how do you get additional help? You can go to your knowledge base. And under knowledge base, there are the product guide, which is the report explainer at this time, and we're adding more. So report explainer, but there are a lot of valuable videos here as well that go through some of those details. You're also welcome to book your one-on-one. The reason for this series really is because maybe you haven't had an opportunity to set up a one-on-one, but we would love to have the opportunity to work with you because everybody's business is different. The goal of today is to help get you familiar with the platform and provide you with a use case or two of how to utilize some of the tool set. I hope you found it valuable. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at some of the questions. We are hitting our time. I am going to stay on the line to address some of the questions. And if you'd like to stay on, great. If you don't, that's okay too. But you're welcome to do that. So, all right. So first one here, let me go ahead. If someone is looking at reports, but I'm not capturing their info, how do I go about doing that? Okay. So this is a question. I'm not sure I've got the question quite right, but if you're looking at the reports, how do you get their information, right? Because it's not automatic, and how are they receiving the report? So let's give the example of the QR code. When they scan the QR code, it's going to load a report. And here is the report. The only way you're going to get that their contact information as a lead is if they click subscribe, okay? And they have to enter in their information and click register. When they do that, it will be added to your contact database. Now, interestingly enough, there are other options. There's another option because you do have the search functionality. What if I wanted to look at Miami? If I'm looking at Miami, Florida, I can go and view the report. But you can set up your parameters for your report to actually get their contact information before allowing them to view the data. So how do you do that? In the platform here, it's the same as going about your branding. You're going to click on your name. You're going to click on my profile, scroll down, and you'll see tiny print, advanced. If you click on advanced, you have a lead form level. On subscribe only is that you will get that lead if they click subscribe. On search means that they can search for a location, but in order to view the data, they have to subscribe. Forced is when they move around on the page and the pop-up keeps happening. If you are one of those, then that's great. You can choose this forced, okay? And that's how you can increase your efforts. for getting that lead. Okay. All right. Got my cursor going all over the place. Let me see if I can go up on this list here. Okay. Someone mentioned that they are having issues adding the photo on the report. Okay. So it may have to do with the size of your image, but I wouldn't recommend continually trying. What you can do is utilize our support. Okay. So for those of you who don't know this already, we just recently implemented live chat. Super excited about that because those simple, real quick questions can be asked. You can also go up to your name and contact support, attach your image file, and we'll help you get your image in there. So if you continue to have difficulty, you want to log out, log back in, try adding it again. And if you continue to have difficulty, just reach out to support. Just be sure to add your file and we'll see what we can do. Sometimes, honestly, my trick is taking a screenshot of the image. It reduces that file size a bit and then try uploading it in that way. Okay, so take a screenshot, it reduces the pixels, and then you can go ahead and add it in. Okay. So can I set up one of those QR code signups for an open house? Absolutely, it's the best thing ever. Okay, you might not be able to see it. I did it last week, but this is the QR code here. You can create something, put it in a frame. And when you display the frame, anybody going through the open house can scan it to view the full report and they can click subscribe and there you got it, right? So good one there. Okay. Can you oh, this is a good one. Can you rename zip codes or add the names of neighborhoods that belong in that zip? Okay, so these are, I'm going to answer one of the questions you didn't ask, but we currently provide reports for citywide, which will take into account all active inventory for every zip code within the city. Okay, so broad. Then we have zip code specific, and this is where this becomes somewhat problematic because some people think that a community equals city name. We define our city name based on the U.S. Postal, okay? And so what their preferred name is. And we cannot rename it because it's how our system is capturing, right? Now, on a website, I've seen it where you will say one thing. For example, if anybody lives in San Jose, knows about Willow Glen, they don't really want to say that they live in San Jose. It's always Willow Glen, but their address is San Jose. But on someone's website, when it comes to that particular zip code, they will create a space on their website that says Willow Glen, even though the zip code is San Jose. But as far as the reports are concerned, we cannot rename them. But you can communicate to your clients that it is based on the USPS. Okay? That's a good question, though. So can I save the markets I follow so I'm not searching for them every time? Yes, we talked about that. You would do that via favorites. Okay? Did you mention anything about how to incorporate reporting into my regular video marketing cadence? So if you're doing video, you can use any of the content, whether it's being the report, but like I mentioned with the market action index or even the snapshot, that is a good way to use this as a script. You can display it. So for example, I use Loom when I do video recordings because I'm interested more about what I'm presenting than myself, but I have my little image there, right? And so I can present this in my video recording. And maybe that's not what you're after, and you're welcome to send me an email. But that's the extent. We don't have any video specific content within the platform. All right, so we have, where does all the data come from and how current is it? Well, remember, we have a data team, thank God, who does all the work for us, right? They access hundreds of sources nationwide. We do have nationwide coverage. And so they go out, they capture the data, they pull it all in, and imagine the amount of work they have to do to get it all situated, right? But if there's anything about it, it is consistent. And so they will go and they will capture all the data, stop capture, and then process the data over the weekend and publish on Sunday afternoon. So all of the reports are updated weekly to answer that question. Okay. If I send a client a link, does it keep updating or is it a snapshot? We talked about that, right? So the report links are links that are continually updated. Whereas a JPEG, a download of an image file, right, is a static. That means it doesn't update. All right. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? I hope you guys found this helpful, and that I hope to see you in the next session. That link will be available either via your platform or via email. But again, when prompted, when registering, if you have a question that you'd like to be addressed, great. I'm happy to help with that. We have, let's see if I can get all these here. For those of you, right, so hopefully this was helpful. We talk about bite-sized pieces instead of covering too much. The next one will be about the market report. We'll go through the market report and then the use case about incorporating it into your listing presentation. And then the following will be the platform. Okay, we'll talk more about how to use the campaigns and understand context. So I look forward to you participating in that. Remember, you've got this great knowledge base. I know everybody learns differently. So go to the knowledge base, utilize the videos, book a free one-on-one. There's 30 minutes too, but we can focus on just your business, which can be really important, okay? But I really appreciate you guys spending the time with us today. I hope you found it valuable, that you can apply some of these things. I'd love to see if you guys create any fun postcards. So please don't leave me out of the loop. Feel free to send me what you've got. You can reach out to support. Don't forget, we've got our live chat and the ability to reach out to support under this menu as well. I appreciate you and look forward to seeing you next time.